Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Anthony Grizzaffi with Primetime Esports, and today I've got a special guest, IceChamp, here with us to break down this really just absolutely crazy best-of-5 series between G2 and MadLions that wrapped up earlier today, and I'm curious about your initial reaction about the whole thing.
I think that G2 hindsight, they should have went with Fnatic or OG, someone who they know. So
yeah, that's been one of the biggest storylines today, is that G2 chose this squad of rookies and chose to play against them, and by all appearances that hasn't really worked out for them. So obviously a lot of back and forth between games 1 through 4. It's sort of trading wins, 1 for 1 all throughout the whole thing. Though MadLions did reach match point on game 3, so game 4, they could have put G2 away a lot quicker, but ultimately they get it done in game 5. So I'm curious. The ending to this game was very explosive. A backdoor by a Ziggs and by a Bard that almost ends the whole game, but then MadLions managed to get the recall. But the biggest thing coming out of that whole game was that the backdoor failed by G2, and I kind of want to break down what happened here, because there's a lot of things that go into, first of all, G2 even being in this situation, and then the actual backdoor itself went disastrously wrong when it looked like G2 had it. It looked like they had pulled off, the mission impossible, sneak in with the Bard and with the Ziggs, the Bard, managing to get through the jungle to place the ward, and they get onto the Nexus, and it just goes terribly wrong. And I kind of want to break down what happened, starting with the communication error with the backs. What happened that allowed MadLions to even get back to the base in time to stop that?
Well, Jankos got killed by the Elder buff. That's what happened.
Like that daggum dragon laser.
I don't know if you could say anything different. Like, Jankos played it, I think, is almost as best as you could. He was trying to stop Karzi's TP, but he had no CC, so I don't know what he was going to stop it with. But he had them trapped in the Jarvanar, and then Shadow he was insane that entire game. He hit 2 back-to-back Olaf axes, and the second one killed because it did over 1,000 damage with the Elder buff.
Absolutely, those undertows that he was managing to get off were absolutely insane, and that's even crazier to think that Shadow started off that game very, very rough. He died early and sort of fell behind in farm, but then just managed to absolutely claw his way back into the game in a meaningful manner, and just had effect all across the map, ganking bot lane, getting kills onto Caps and Mickey X, ganking top lane, kind of covering for Arome. And so, it's not really unreasonable to think that in a situation where, backs are trying to be stopped, by Jankos and by the rest of G2, that, he might survive and, somehow get kills by that. So then moving forward from that, so G2 failed to get the backs stopped on the side of MadLions, but you have to do more than just get the backstop. You have to make it in time to stop the Ziggs. And as everybody knows that's played League of Legends, for any meaningful amount of time, Ziggs does incredible damage to structures. That's part of his kit as a champion. He just does it. And you look at this Bard and the Ziggs, onto this Nexus with almost no health left on it. I mean, you're talking a 1/10 of health left on it. It's like 2 auto attacks, but they don't get it. And the way that they don't get it is absolutely phenomenal. With MadLions both miraculously getting back in time, and then with the miscommunication I think that G2 has been experiencing, and it definitely was on display at that moment when Bard and Ziggs, when Mickey X and Caps are pushing into the base. And I'm curious about your reaction to how the end of that back door played out.
I think there was definite miscommunication, as you mentioned, between Caps and Mickey, and also with other members of the team. I think that even if you go to the Elder fight before, there was miscommunication. Wonder channeling his TP when it looks like the rest of the team was trying to back off the Elder and just give it, which I don't know why you would ever give Elder, but right. I think they thought they would lose the game straight up if they didn't give Elder, and they thought they could wait it out.
Gotcha.
They had an ADC hard carry top.
Gotcha. So you think that maybe they felt pressured into that situation? They're behind, and then they have this open inhibitor bot lane, and so they get the towers around the Nexus. So you think that maybe they were pressured into feeling that was their only way to win?
I think it's possible that the backdoor they thought was their only way to win, which I'd agree that it probably was.
Absolutely.
With the way that MadLions was playing.
Absolutely. So then let's look at the mechanical nature of this. So then, as we've talked about, so Ziggs and Bard get into the base and they're doing damage to the Nexus. It looks like they've got it, but then they don't manage to complete it. And the way that they manage to not complete it is both a massive amount of self-error and a little bit of luck on the side of MadLions. And I like to kind of break down exactly how that happened, from your perspective and the way, you kind of feel that went. And then obviously, what happened in the footage.
Well, both of us, myself and Anthony, have watched the 40-second clip of the match for about 20 minutes of our lives each. Both noticing different things. So we noticed that Carzzy gets the teleport off. Jankos could not stop it. And as soon as he teleports, he ultis Caps. And that ulti would have killed Caps had Mickey not stunned him. Had Mickey not stunned Carzzy, excuse me. And that stun onto Carzzy saved the game for G2.
So to clarify, you're saying that ulti onto Carzzy saved Carzzy, the Syndra, from the Ziggs ult. Is that what you're saying?
Possibly, yes. Because I think that if Carzzy would have kept walking and kept tunnel visioning, as he kind of was, he was upset that this first stun from Bard hit him. So I think that he saved because Caps ultied. Not saying that Caps shouldn't have thought, oh, hey, Bard is ulting. That's a 2.5-second stun. I shouldn't throw this yet. I should wait. But you still have to think there's that communication issue again.
Absolutely. So obviously it's a little bit of disparity between what Mickey X and what Caps wanted to do with trying to stop the Syndra. So then moving forward from that one, so the game progresses a little bit in the next about 10 seconds where Syndra then comes out of the Tempered Fate from the Bard and starts moving closer towards Caps and towards Mickey X. They both split on the side of the Nexus, and they, Mickey X puts the portal through the Nexus, and Ziggs gets to the other side of it, and they're doing damage. But then right about that time, MadLions completes the recall, and I'm curious to your reaction of the accident with the satchel charge that launched Caps straight into the waiting arms of MadLions. What it is that he was thinking there? You have a very clear round to victory, which is just to keep autoing the Nexus. So how does he go from almost like the game is right there, one or two auto attacks and you win the game, to getting punched in the face by a set that's just completed a recall? I'm curious to see your reaction on how that happened.
Well, I think he was casting the satchel charge to proc his Sheen, and he was maximizing his Sheen procs. He procced the Sheen before he went through the mystical journey from Bard to get to the other side of the Nexus. He was maximizing his Sheen procs in that entire time that they were attacking the Nexus.
Gotcha.
I think that he was trying to use the W to proc the Sheen because he had just used his Q to proc the Sheen. It was off cooldown. He was using the W to proc the Sheen.
Gotcha.
I think he accidentally did it the second time, but it is possible that he was trying to avoid the Syndra Q into E, because the Syndra E hit the location that he was in about a quarter of a second after he did pop that second charge on the satchel charge.
Gotcha. So
and
you don't
would have killed him.
Gotcha. So you don't think that maybe he might have been mistakenly trying to execute the Nexus with it, or you think it was just a simple sort of decision-making process that ultimately ended very badly for him, more or less getting launched into the waiting arms of the set? You don't think that maybe he was trying to execute the Nexus with it, maybe some inexperience on the champ, or do you think it just was the simple misplay?
It is possible that he was trying to execute the Nexus, but I think I'm going to give Caps the benefit of the doubt, even though he has only played 4 games in solo queue on Ziggs since Worlds and has lost all 4. I think I would like to give him the benefit of the doubt, being a mid laner, although he was known for his assassin play. Being a mid laner previously, he should know about the kit of most mid laners, and Ziggs is primarily a mid laner, even though he was playing it in the ADC role.
So they're giving them the benefit of the doubt as a professional player. I see that. So then the other question I want to ask in regards to this, when we talk about hindsight being 20/20, is what ultimately, obviously we could break down the whole game about, G2 not even ending up in that situation, but I think that's a conversation for another day, because ultimately, they did end up where they were at. But I think maybe breaking down just that small segment, that failed backdoor, what could they have done differently to sort of buy that extra one or two auto attack time that it would have taken for Ziggs to sort of end the game. I mean, obviously his damage destruction is very, very impressive, both as a mage and as the champion itself. So I'm curious to your thoughts about what they could have done to more or less finish out the game right then and there.
Had Wonder.
And how so? What would have Wonder done in order to be able to help them in that game faster?
He was an ADC in the top lane. He could have done damage to the next, and he got eliminated in that previous fight almost instantly by I believe it was the Syndra. And I do not think that Wonder being in that Baron fight and them having Wonder there was necessary. He could have TP'd to the... And maybe it would have been different. Maybe a lot of different things would have happened. Mad would have started channeling backs instantly and wouldn't have tried to go to the Baron.
Got you.
But having Wonder would have instantly made it happen. Caps not doing the W and taking it and throwing his W further away, his satchel charge further away, would have changed it. But you don't know if it would have for certain. Because had he thrown his satchel charge further away, would he have gotten that extra? It would have been 2 auto attacks without a Sheen proc, or 1 auto attack with a Sheen proc. And would Mickey X have been able to get as many auto attacks? He got 4 or 5 off in the time that Caps was in stasis, and then the time that it took him to die. You don't know.
No. So a lot of what ifs and could have beens, I think, with that situation. I think going forward, there's going to be a lot of breakdown of a lot of moments leading up to that backdoor that are going to kind of, reveal that, maybe G2 had more damage or time to work with. But so then leaving that where it's at, obviously, G2 are going to go to the lower part of the bracket. And I think that, largely they're going to be waiting to see who wins out of Rogue and out of Misfits and playing the winner of that game. And, then having to move forward with the rest of the playoff brackets. So then I'm curious then looking at the match tomorrow and, between Fnatic and between Origin, your thoughts, especially after seeing the games today, where obviously, MadLions came out ahead of G2 and, what was completely unexpected. Obviously, no one had them winning. So I'm curious, do you think that this maybe kind of sets a precedent for tomorrow? Maybe, oh my God. Maybe Fnatic drops a game or two, or maybe a series to Origin. I'm curious on your thoughts about what could happen tomorrow.
Everyone has Fnatic this astronomically ahead of Origin, which I think playstyle wise Fnatic does have Origin, but I think that OG can still take a game and can still take the series. I would not be surprised after seeing today. They are tied at second place in the standing. They did not earn their spot. Like, OG earned their spot, as did Fnatic at the top of the playoff bracket. So I think that whoever wins, Mad still has a chance to beat them, as they just beat G2. They beat both of them in the regular season as well. Mad went 1-1 with Fnatic, Origin, and G2 in the regular split.
Being the only team to kind of beat all of those teams at the top end of the standings, getting a major win between all of them, and then obviously today, getting the major win over G2 and knocking them to lower playoff brackets. Well, it's going to be interesting to see the game tomorrow, and obviously, it's set up to be a really fun script, quote unquote, for tomorrow. If Origin managed to beat beat Fnatic and kind of flip the script on them and meet MadLions in the finals, obviously, MadLions have proved that they're a very capable team. They're, very capable of beating the best of the best, obviously putting G2 away. And I think that would be an interesting game between them and Origin, if Origin managed to put away Fnatic.